So it's been about 6 weeks since we first started these wines, and now they are clear enough, according to everything I've learned from TikTok and YouTube universities, that we can go ahead and start to stabilize them and bottle them. So that is, tonight we are going to first filter them and put them in new glasses, and then we're going to taste them, and then the next step is going to be to see if they need to, when we taste them, we're going to determine if they need to be sweetened, and then we're going to bottle them in the next step. So let's go ahead and filter them. Alright, so everything has already been sterilized. We're going to start with our orange wine. So I'm being careful not to disturb the sediment on the bottom. So I'm elevating the wine so that it flows better into our new glass. So we got our filter. Oh, I missed a step. So we gotta add our stabilizers. So we gotta add our stabilizers. So I am going to use some water. This is about 6 tablespoons of water. To this water, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of potassium sorbate. And 1 sodium Camden tablet. And the spoons is to crush. I'm using the 2 spoons to crush the tablet right into the water. Oops, I'm getting it everywhere. And we just want to dissolve this as much as possible. These are our stabilizers. And we're going to pour this right through our filter. Just to avoid any floaties. Then we got our siphon. And with our siphon, we want to be careful. All right, so here's where I learned the valuable lesson real quick. So it started off with the wine being sitting on the bucket, and you see it's trickling real slow.
but I quickly learned the power of gravity. In a minute, you're gonna see me raise the first glass, the one that's sitting on the bucket, in the air. And as soon as I start to raise it in the air, the gravitational pull on the wine caused it to flow so much faster. So I understand now why most people, in most videos, when I see people moving the wine from one container to another, they'll have the second container sitting on the floor. And yeah, so I learned that lesson real quick here, just in this one video. See what I'm doing right there? As you can see, after using the siphon to get as much out of the first container, there was still quite a bit left. So basically what you're about to see me do is pour as much of that as I can through the filter without getting all that sediment on the bottom. Still, some of that sediment is going to get through, but we're going to allow this. I'm not even going to. I'm going to stop right there because I'm about to tell y'all too much. But yeah, we're going to pour as much of that through the filter as we can, because that's a lot of wine to throw away. So yeah, just watch. Now, being that I'm looking at this from the top, watching what I'm doing, I can't see what you can see in this video. But you can see that as I'm pouring this, that new container of wine is starting to get cloudy again compared to how it looked when I first started. So that is important because remember I said that it was clear enough for us to start bottling. Obviously, now that we filtered it, it's not as clear as it was before, and that is important. So at this point, I'm realizing just how thick that sediment on the bottom really is, and man, that was some thick stuff. Just rinsing, washing that glass out afterwards was like, wow, it's like clay almost. There was still some wine in the filter, so I was trying to get as much of that through the filter as I possibly could, but there was some sediment in the filter as well. So I didn't want that going through the filter, which some of it still did, which is why it is cloudy. And so at that point, I just went ahead and took it to the sink. Upon coming back from the sink is when I realized just how cloudy it was after filtering. So that's why you saw me looking at the wine the way
All
I
right,
was.
so
I was just,
after that filtering,
I think, a little disappointed
I
that
thought
it
I was
was
ready to
actually
bottle
cloudy
it, but
again.
it is cloudy again. So I'm gonna let it sit for until it clears up again. Let you see it. So compare how clear it was before I filtered it to how cloudy it is now. We're gonna let this sit for another 4 to 6 weeks before we bottle it. So it's stable now. We put the stabilizer in it now. So now we're gonna let it clear up again. But we are gonna taste it. So let's get a wine glass. And again, this is the orange wine. very bitter, so it definitely needs a sweetener. It's bitter for my taste. It's dry. The alcohol content is very high. So I'm gonna put it back in the hydrometer and get the alcohol content.
Clearly, this was my first time using an alcohol content calculator. So first I struggled with finding the right one. And then when I did find the right one, I was struggling with even trying to figure out how to put the numbers into the calculator the correct way. At one point, I realized that I was actually reading the numbers on the hydrometer wrong, and had to go back and remeasure the remeasure it to get the correct numbers. Because yeah, it was a whole mess. Um, but eventually I did figure it out on my own, and yeah, so the alcohol content, as I stated when I tasted it, was higher than what most wines are. In the end here, you're going to see that the alcohol content on this orange wine is coming in at 18%. And what let me know that it was wrong is that the way I was putting numbers in, it was coming in at negative 6%. And I'm like, there's no way that the alcohol content is negative anything. But yeah, like I said, I figured it out. The alcohol content ended up being 18.38%, to be exact, as you can see there. And wait until you see what the banana wine is.
Okay, so I'm reading this wrong. 18%. This shit has 18% alcohol. Alright. So we'll let this sit for 24 hours before we add a sweetener. Put the airlock back on. I'm gonna add today's date. Six, 27, 25. All right, there we go. Walk like Ronald McDonald. Walk like Ronald McDonald. We're gonna put it back on our shelf. Alright, we're gonna wash out our tools over here. We're gonna wash this stuff out. Let me wash that out. Alright, so now we're on to our banana wine. This one I really want to be careful with because there's a lot of thick sediment at the bottom. I'm gonna use warm water for this one. Put our filter on. Alright, that warm water dissolve everything better. So I'm learning as I go.
See, some lessons don't need to be taught twice. You see, as soon as I got this wine, this banana wine flowing, I immediately lifted it up in the air. That way, it started flowing much faster than that orange wine. And as you can see, because of my shoulder injury, my shoulders got to hurting really fast. So I finished much faster with this one. But then again, just like with the orange wine, it left a lot behind. So we're going to go ahead and manually pour it through the filter, trying not to get as little as of that sediment as possible. As you can see, I'm pouring very gingerly because that is a lot of thick sediment at the bottom of that glass.
Okay, so this one, the banana wine, is not as cloudy as the orange wine, but it is still, it did still end up being cloudy. I did see some of the finer sediment end up going through the mesh strainer. So what I am going to do is order a finer strainer, a finer filter to go on top of this filter. You also see I lost a little bit of volume on this because of how thick that sediment is in the banana wine. See, there's still a lot of liquid in there. So if I had a finer strainer or finer filter, I probably could get some more liquid out of there. But it is what it is. So we're gonna go ahead and taste this and get the alcohol content. So let's taste it first. So that's what it looks like when you pour it. Oh, you can smell the alcohol. Very bitter, so it definitely needs a sweetener as well. I also lost alcohol because the or liquid because it sprayed my table. So it's about 18% as well. It's right at the same point. Actually, it's at 0.95.
Again, I was reading it wrong. It was actually at 0.85.
Actually, 11%. Oh, I did that wrong. It's 0.85. Oh, 24%. That makes sense. Because the alcohol is stronger in this than it is in the orange wine. So we're gonna let this sit for a few weeks and see. 24%. Ooh. All right, I'm gonna clean up my mess. And we'll be back with part 3 when it's in about 3 weeks, 3 to 6 weeks. Actually, we'll be back tomorrow when I add the sweetener. And then we'll taste it again. Alright, so we're going to disturb the show a little bit today with these wines. I'm going to sit down a little bit so y'all can see me. Alright, so they start to settle a little bit, but we're going to disturb the show a little bit. So it's been almost 48 hours since we did the first filtering. So today we are going to sweeten and taste them, and then add another stabilizer that I forgot about. So let me grab a glass so we can taste them after we sweeten them. Alright, so I also grabbed our simple syrup. So we're going to start with our orange wine. I'm going to grab a top here. We are going to put in about 4 tablespoons of simple syrup. So that's about 4 tablespoons of simple syrup. I don't want to put too much because I don't want to over sweeten it. Put our top on here. And then we're going to shake it up. And we're going to see if we're going to give it a taste. Actually, can use some more sweetener. Don't even taste like I put anything in there. So I'm gonna add 8 tablespoons. Still a little dry, but I can taste the sweetener now. We're also going to add a stabilizer. We need to make a slurry with this, so we're going to do a amount of water. I'm going to do a half a teaspoon of midnight. And all this is going to do is grab a hold of any extra particles, that's protein particles that's in the wine, and pull it to the bottom. In other words, it's going to make it clearer. Okay, all of that didn't dissolve, but that should be enough. And then we're going to backfill. All right, we're going to let this sit for 4 weeks. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. Now I know offhand we're going to backfill this one. This is going to help cut that alcohol content down from 24%. Hoping that in the end they'll get closer to that 13%. I'm going to right away go ahead and add 12 tablespoons of simple syrup. So that was 10. That's 12. We'll shake it up. And let's give it a taste. This is much better. It's not as strong as it was when I tasted it the other night. It's not as sweet as I would like it to be, but it's not as dry. So already the alcohol content has been cut. Just dissolve the rest of that that was left on the spoon from before. Try not to waste nothing around here. All right. So now there's no headspace left in either one of these. We're gonna let these sit for 4 more weeks. Let them clear up again. And then we'll taste them again. I will see you guys in the next video. Hey, before I go, I know I talked to you guys a couple months ago about my newsletter. I want to remind you to go ahead and click the link down below to sign up so that you can subscribe to the newsletter. It will be dropping in a few weeks here, so I want to make sure that you guys are signed up so you can be the first to get the first newsletter that will be coming out. The goal is to have it out come July 1st. Starting with affirmations on July 1st and followed up with the actual monthly newsletter sometime in July. So definitely go ahead and click that link down below so you can be a part of the first rollout. Thanks in advance for being a subscriber.